What's going on, everybody? ChromeOnRust here. Patch 2.2 is now live. Of course, this is on the PTR server, not actually on the live server, but it's live on the PTR. So if you'd like to try out and see what's going on in the new patch, go ahead and download the PTR and check it out for yourself. I'm going to be going over my top 5 changes coming in patch 2.2. Not going to be going through them all. I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to check out the entire list, read through it. Or, of course, you could always head over to something like Diablo fans or just the main Diablo 3 website. So just jumping right in here, the first thing players have been saying since pretty much legendary potions came out is, what is with all these regular health potions? I'm tired of picking them up. And then they increased the cap to around 1,000 or 5,000 or something like that. And really, in my opinion, that pretty much solved the problem, unless you just really could not stand having one inventory slot taken up by potions. You're not really going to be farming at such a rate that you're really going to have to worry about always getting rid of your health potions, as long as you don't worry about keeping that one little stash tab occupied. Now, to be fair, there's no reason to actually have that stash base occupied. You don't need those health potions in patch 2.2. Regular health potions have been removed from the game. The health potion slot on the action bar is now a bottomless health potion that will heal you for a maximum of 60% of your maximum life. Or whatever, close enough. The function of legendary potions, bottomless potions, is unchanged. So really, this is a pretty good change. You're no longer going to have to worry about auto picking up health potions. You're just never going to pick them up again. Health potions are gone from an RPG. At least picking them up, that is. You're going to be able to use them. I guess everybody's just going to start out with a bottomless health potion now. Kind of cool. Not going to have to worry about picking them up if you are getting dumpstered by mobs. You really shouldn't ever have to buy health potions, or you shouldn't have had to. But, at least in ROS. Sometimes in vanilla, you're of course going to have to find yourself buying some health potions because, well, one, they were not auto pickup, and two, we didn't have bottomless health potions. So moving into the number 4 change that I would say is going to be crafting. When crafting gems and items, the entire quantity. Let's try that one more time. When crafting gems and items, the entire quantity will now be crafted at once. So no longer are you going to have to sit there or just AFK for a couple minutes while you are crafting your gems or your Reaper's Wraps or whatever you're trying to do. You're just going to punch in a number and it's going to craft them all for you. Now, the interesting thing to me, not really that interesting, but what is going to happen to the additional items that were crafted? I'm sure they're just going to be tossed out onto the ground. If you craft 30 bracers, we'll say, and you could only hold 20, well, I guess the other 10 are just going to be dropped on the ground. Not totally sure. We'll just have to wait and see what exactly happens. Maybe they won't let you craft past what your inventory slot can hold. Now, the number 3 change I would say that is going to be coming is going to be from Rift Guardians. You are playing through a rift, whether it's a greater rift or a regular rift, you probably found yourself at some point running around, maybe not knowing that the Rift Guardian had even spawned just because, you're talking or whatever, not totally focusing on what's going on with the game, and then there's just no Rift Guardian to be seen, so you just keep running through and you realize that you passed the Rift Guardian, you have no idea where he is, or maybe the Rift Guardian spawns, you're totally paying attention, and he's just nowhere in sight because they spawned him in some really random location because for some reason they just didn't want to spawn him right next to you. But the change that's coming, Rift Guardian's positions now always going to be shown on the map or mini-map regardless of your distance from them. Really, really great change. That's why I put it at number 3. So for number 2, for me, I'm going to have to say, what was my number 2? Number 2 is going to be, well, new legendaries. Looks like I had a little bit of an epic fail here. No, we're on the items. So whenever a new patch comes out, there's, of course, is going to be new legendaries. Now, I don't really have one in particular that I'm like, this is the new hotness that is coming out, but there's some good ones. And it's just always really nice to see that those really old, bad legendaries that have no powers on them at least get some form of power added into that legendary. So maybe it's not 100% useless, and it'll be slightly for something that you use during the beginning of the game or whatever the case may be. But also, they're trying to create items for the end game. There's going to be a new ring that is going to be, well, buffing the Barbarian. And that is going to be my number 1 change coming in patch 2.2 because I pretty much played a barb since the very beginning of Diablo 3. I started with the Demon Hunter, very shortly after transitioned into the barb after trying a couple of the other classes. Barb was really OP at that point. There really wasn't a reason to switch, and well, you would just spin to wind, rend and run, that type of thing, and you were good to go. Now, to see the old build, Wrath of Berserker, you're just like permanently have your Wrath of Berserker up. You're running around incinerating mobs with your rend, and it's kind of sad to see that go when it did. Luckily, though, they are going to be actually buffing Whirlwind just a little bit. They're coming out with a new set for it as well, which kind of classifies under the number 2, top 2, for patch 2.2. New sets, new items was my number 2. Number 1, well, Barb buffs. Now, they're going to be increasing the radius of Whirlwind from 8 to 9 yards. Not a huge change, but, well, Nerves of Steel has been redesigned. Really wasn't that great of a passive ability. And, well, Fatal Damage instead is going to reduce you to 15% life. For 3 seconds afterwards, you will take 95% reduced damage and are immune to all control impairing effects. This effect may occur once every 60 seconds. The Barb finally just got his cheat death passive. Players have been asking for it for a long time. I have not really played one in hardcore, so it wasn't a huge issue for me. It is a little sad to see that they did, I don't want to say cave to giving the Barbarian a cheat death passive, because I'm sure there's a lot of Barbs out there that are like, finally, thank you. But it was really like, whenever you saw a Barb running in hardcore, you're like, that guy's a man. Like, he has no cheat death passive. He probably has like, 30 million toughness or something like that. But still, running around in hardcore without a cheat death passive, you're bound to make mistakes. And running without one, the concentration level is much higher than it is when you have one. You're able to play a lot more lackadaisical, or whatever you want to say. So to see him get it, it's kind of sad, but I feel like it was needed for him to at least be able to compete in hardcore. He seemed to be doing fine in softcore. It'll be interesting to see what the softcore guys do, if they just keep going for all-out damage, or if they do actually incorporate this new Nerves of Steel. I am going to run back over to the items here just for a second, because, well, the Barbarian is going to be getting a new set, or the IK set is going to be redesigned. The 2-piece set bonus, Ancients, are going to last forever. The 4-piece called Ancients melee attacks are going to deal 600% weapon damage in a 15-yard radius. And then the 6-piece set bonus, the duration of your Wrath of Berserker is going to be increased by 0.25 seconds each time an Ancient deals damage. So they removed the permanent Wrath of Berserker rend and run build. Maybe they're trying to bring it back here just a little bit with the new IK set. It's going to be really interesting to see what type of builds come from this. And well, that is why Barbarian changes are my number 1 for patch 2.2. So that's going to be it for me. I am ChromeOnRust for Core Expert Gaming. Keep grinding out Season 2. And if you'd like to go over and play on the PTR right now, they have 2,000% increased legendary drop rate. So if there's a new build that you'd like to try, or maybe one of these new sets, go over to the PTR. Make sure you download it first, of course, or else you're not going to be able to play. That's going to be it for me. ChromeOnRust for Core Expert Gaming. I'm out of here, and you all have a great day.